Good evening, this is Viewpoint. I'm Zakir Jacob. There were multiple raids today by the CBI in the land for jobs scam in which Lalu Prasad's former OSD, Bhola Singh Yadav, is a prime accused and under arrest. Lalu Prasad is also named in the CBI FIR. Today, there were multiple MPs and MLCs of the RJD who got raided in multiple locations, not just in Patna and other parts of Bihar, but also in Delhi and then in the national capital region. And this was happening coincidentally at the same time that the new Mahagathbandhan government under Nitish Kumar was facing its trust vote inside the Bihar Assembly. Eventually, of course, the Gathbandhan sailed through that trust vote because the numbers are on its side, but its legal and its political troubles may just be beginning. So, is the charge valid that the RJD is making that this is mere political vendetta, the timing is questionable, or does the RJD need to explain why property worth crores of rupees was procured by some of these folks associated with the party for a mere few lakhs, and then the proceeds of that crime were used to build malls in places like Delhi and Gurugram? But first, the story of what happened in Bihar today.
As the Nitish Kumar-led Mahagathbandhan 2.0 faced a trust vote in the assembly, the shadow of the land for jobs scam revisited his ally, the RJD. The CBI raided Lalu Yadav's close aides.
There are 4 locations of Dr. Sunil Singh of RJD whose residences are being raided. His in-laws' families are also raided. Some of the supporters of Sunil Singh and RJD are sitting outside his residence.
The RJD is alleging political vendetta. The party says the BJP is taking revenge against their decision to back the Mahagathbandhan fold.
जिसको जो करना है वो तो करेगा ही, लेकिन हमको जो जवाब देना है वो सदन के अंदर जवाब हम देंगे। अरे भाई 100 सुनार का 1 लोहार का।
डर गए हैं लोग, नया सरकार बना है नीतीश कुमार के नेतृत्व में और सारा पार्टी हमारा साथ है बीजेपी के छोड़ के।
The BJP has upped the ante. Its MLA staged a massive protest outside the Bihar Assembly. On charges of vendetta, the BJP says law is taking its own course.
पहली बार थोड़ी छापा पड़ रहा है। जब लालू जी मुख्यमंत्री थे उस समय भी सीबीआई ने इनको गिरफ्तार किया था, इनको इस्तीफा देना पड़ा था। तो जितने लोगों के यहाँ छापा पड़ रहा वो नामी गिरामी इस प्रकार के लोग हैं तो जिनका कि लालू परिवार से केवल संबंध नहीं है बल्कि प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी चलाती है।
The raids are not limited to Bihar. The central agency launched search operations at 25 locations across Delhi and Gurugram. According to CBI sources, land received against jobs was sold off and money was used to build a mall. CBI sources say proceeds of the crime were used to build properties, and a few of them are associated with Tejasvi Yadav.
This is the company, this is said to be a construction company in which it is being alleged that Tejasvi Yadav and the family members have some stakes. This is the under construction building being built probably with the proceeds of crime which was earned through the land for jobs scam.
The land for jobs scam dates back to Lalu Yadav's tenure as railway minister in the UPA-1 government. But now the CBI raids come just 2 weeks after Nitish Kumar decided to dump the BJP and join hands with Tejasvi Yadav. Is the law really taking its course in Bihar, or is it an act of sheer vengeance?
So let's explain what exactly is this land for jobs scam. What is the allegation from the CBI? In the FIR, the allegation is that Lalu Prasad Yadav, when he was railway minister in UPA-1 from 2004 to 2009, they took land, that is plots, from people as bribes. In return, they promised to give them jobs in the railways. And Lalu, remember, was the railways minister at that time. In the CBI FIR, at least 12 people have been identified, those who were appointed in Class D posts, which is, sweeper, clerks, etc. And the family members of Lalu Yadav got at least 7 plots of land in lieu of these jobs that they had promised. Also, they got the total amount of land that they managed to amass through the scheme, according to the CBI, is that 1 lakh square feet of land, which was valued at over 4 crores, they managed to get for a mere 26 lakh rupees. The action that's been taken so far by the CBI, Lalu Prasad Yadav has been named in the FIR. Remember, he was the minister at the time, the railways minister. His family members, Rabri Devi, his wife, Misa Bharti, his daughter, Hema Yadav, his other daughter, all of them have been named in the FIR as well. And then you have Bhola Singh Yadav, who was his OSD at the time that Lalu Yadav was the railway minister. He, of course, has been arrested by the CBI in this case. Now, today, what happened was there were 4 people, all of whom associated with the RJD, 2 members of parliament, Ashfaq Karim and Fayaz Ahmed, both of them MPs of the RJD. They were raided. They're accused of being part of the conspiracy. They were the via media through which the scam operated. Sunil Singh is an RJD MLC, and there's a former MLC of the RJD, Subodh Rai. These 4 gentlemen, their properties were raided today. Their accusation against them is they were part of the conspiracy and they were conduits for this entire scam to unfold. Let me now go across to our full panel. Joining us, Guru Prakash Paswan, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Sunil Singh, National Spokesperson of the JDU, Professor Subodh Mehta is Spokesperson of the RJD, Shantanu Sen, former Joint Director in the CBI, and Naveen Upadhyay, Executive Editor of the Pioneer newspaper. Guru Prakash Paswan, let me start with you first. The JDU, the RJD are all questioning the timing of these raids. On the day that the government had to face the trust vote, is it coincidental that the CBI raids in 25 places, that too?
Zaka, in your initial remarks, you have made things clear. You have said it very categorically that this is not a new case. The case was initiated in 2017. The charge sheet was filed in 2018. So there is no question of the timing. And as it is, we know that they have a very strong presence. They have 164 MLAs in the House of 224. So there is absolutely no question with respect to timing. Point number 1, which is very clear. Another point which I would like to clear is that the relationship between CBI and Lalu Prasad Yadav, it is not a new relationship. Is it the first time that CBI is making raids in Lalu Prasad Yadav's property? Absolutely not. The first raid that happened in the premises of Lalu Prasad Yadav, it happened during the prime ministership of Deve Gowda. So this is a very old story. This is not a new story. And likewise, you have mentioned that CBI has alleged that there are properties, more than 7 properties in key areas of Patna, in lieu of which 12 people were appointed in the Group D category. I want only one explanation from the representative of the Rashtriya Janata Dal. Who is the owner of this property? If there was no exchange, if there was no quid pro quo, then where is the question? There is an absolute involvement of Rashtriya Janata Dal. People were given jobs in lieu of land.
Let me ask Professor Subodh Mehta of the RJD. He's part of the panel this evening. Professor Subodh Mehta, simple question. Whose property are these 7 properties? And on the question of timing, as Guru Prakash Paswan says, this is not a new case. This was back to the tenure of Lalu Prasad Yadav as Railway Minister between 2004 and 9. The case came to light in 2017. To say that raids happened today in 2022 just because the trust vote was happening, that is mere coincidence.
See, this is a frustration that is visible now by using these institutions. These institutions, they have used it in last 8 years almost 3,000 times against the opposition leader. And Lalu Prasad is no exception at all. Look what the Prakash is saying, the BJP spokesperson. He knows everything. CBI, what he says that this plot belonged to him, that plot belonged to whom, X and Y and Z, everything, even the plot number he knows. If he knows each and everything, then why they have gone for a raid? Why the ED has gone for a raid instead of arresting them?
No, Professor Subodh Mehta, already Bhola Singh Yadav, former OSD to Lalu Yadav, is under arrest. The others will be arrested after they are brought in for questioning, and if they are not cooperating in the investigation, they'll also be arrested. To say no arrests have happened is not correct.
See, the arrest and what you are talking about is 2 different things. You are giving the names of the properties. Even CBI, if knows those properties, they should come forward and tell to the people that these are the properties, then why they are not taking actions? Why they are going for a raid every month? Last month also there was a raid. So this is a total frustration, Prakashji, and you are an educated person, you must know that even the British Empire, who has a huge power, whose son never is to set, even those British Empire could not establish a permanent Raj in Bihar, Jharkhand, and Orissa and West Bengal. So
Sir, ये क्या
how
बात
come
हुई?
this
I mean, BJP is an
how
elected
come
party.
this
Some
BJP
people
by
have
using
elected
the
them. Some people
institutions
do not like them.
established
जैसे कि आपकी पार्टी है, it's an elected party है. British राज से compare करने की क्या जरूरत है? No, anyway,
Because-
let me
no,
ask Dr. Sunil Singh. No, the point is everything cannot be linked to politics. Everything can't be कि महागठबंधन की सरकार आ गई, therefore BJP is doing this. Point is, point is, Dr. Sunil Singh. No, one second. Subodh Saab, one second. Sunil Singh, the point is that Lalu Prasad Yadav has been convicted in Chara Ghotala, I think in 4 out of 5 cases by the same agency, the same CBI, cases dating back to 1995 and 1996. So the point is that to say that Lalu Yadav के खिलाफ अभी नए केस लेके आ रहे हैं because MGB 2.0 has been formed, that is far from the truth, Dr. Sunil Singh.
Let me correct
So,
you
no,
one
Sunil
thing
Singh,
here.
Sunil Singh. I'm asking the question to Sunil Singh, please. Thank you, Professor. Thank you.
These cases are-
Sunil
Alas,
Singh, Sunil Singh.
alas, it should not have been linked to that.
Yes.
But these days, like it's pan-India phenomena that BJP in their political frustration, they are using the ED and CBI as a political tool. Not only in Bihar. You can see this is CBI and ED is functioning in a very predictable and a set pattern as a handiwork of BJP in states like Delhi. You know what happened in Maharashtra, what happened in many other states. So I think since ED and CBI losing their credibility, it's high time they should do a rethinking, and the people in general, because they are being exposed to the people also. They are the highest investigation body. Have they found anything? It is 5 years now. If they want to establish their credential, whatever proof they have, they should give it in public domain, and they should have a time bound to investigation done. That
No,
would
Dr.
be, I
Sunil
think,
Singh, so
fortunate
since you
affair.
asked,
Time-bound investigation done.
this is
And
what the
then-
CBI is claiming. Many people are asking why is the CBI doing raids in Delhi and in Gurugram? Now, this is supposedly what the CBI's claim is. Let's play out that Christie. Tejashwi Yadav, the current Deputy Chief Minister, the younger son of Mr. Lalu Yadav, the CBI is saying that the proceeds of the crime from the railway scam was used to build properties like malls in Gurugram. In fact, there's one particular mall, it's called Urban Cubes Mall in Gurugram, which the CBI is claiming is associated with close associates of the Bihar Deputy Chief Minister, Tejashwi Yadav. The claim by the CBI is that land received from at least a dozen people who got jobs, 7 properties that they allegedly got, those pieces of land were sold, and then the money was used to build a mall. Urban Cubes Mall in Gurugram is owned by a company called Whiteland Corporation. The main director, the main owner of this company is said to be a close aide of Tejashwi Yadav. Whiteland Corporation is also associated with close associates of the Bihar Deputy Chief Minister. The CBI's contention is that companies like Whiteland are simply front companies that have been used to build or regularize the proceeds of the crime. But Tejashwi Yadav is contesting this. In fact, we're getting his reaction. Let's go to that piece of breaking news right now. Tejashwi Yadav, the Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar, has refuted any sort of link to the Urban Cube Mall or to this company, Whiteland. He says he has nothing to do with either this mall that has been built in Gurugram or this company, Whiteland Corporation, or its main owner. He says this is simply a political vendetta by the BJP. Let's play out that bite. This is right after his government won the trust vote in the assembly, and then I'll go back to our guests.
अर्बन क्यूब्स मॉल है, और ये मॉल जो है ये प्रोजेक्ट का नाम है. हमने पता करवाया ये कि भाई ना मेरा लेना देना, ये कहाँ से कौन मेरा मॉल भी बना दिया और छापे भी पड़वा रहे हैं. तो भाई हम पता कि भाई क्या है, और हमारा तो जो कुछ है सबके सामने एफिडेविट में दिया हुआ है, चाहे हमारे परिवार का. झूठ मूठ का झूठा केस बनाएंगे और ये चालू रहेगा. ये मेरा कैरेक्टर बर्बाद करने का, परसेप्शन इमेज जो है बर्बाद करने का इनका चलता रहेगा.
Okay, I want to ask Shantanu Sen, and then after that I'll go to Naveen Upadhyay. You heard what Tejashwi Yadav is saying. How easy or difficult would it be for the CBI to prove, Mr. Sen, that the proceeds of the crime, this alleged crime that happened where jobs were given in lieu of properties, those properties were sold, and then the money that was acquired by the selling off of those properties were then used to build this mall in Gurugram linked to associates of Tejashwi Yadav. Just how easy or difficult would that be to prove this whole money trail?
Rahul ji, I note that Lalu Prasad Yadav was the railway minister in 2004 and he continued up to 2008 or 9. So ये तो 18 साल हो गए हैं. So the whole crime was committed 18 years ago, the initial crime, land for jobs. इतनी पुरानी बात है. Then the case was registered in 2017 and today we are in 2022. तो ये भी 5 साल हो गए, 5 years have crossed. अब CBI's crime manual gives CBI 6 months to complete an investigation.
Okay.
देर होगी तो 1 साल, 2 साल, 3 साल, but here it has taken 5 years. So the facts show that CBI is finding it tough, very tough, to link the criminals in this case. Allegations are serious, very serious. But investigation is difficult because those who abetted the crime have got jobs.
Okay.
And they are the primary witnesses to Lalu's crime. And they are not going to depose against Lalu Prasad Yadav easily unless they become approvers.
Okay.
So the CBI obviously is finding it very difficult, very, very difficult to charge sheet even after 5 years of investigation, when the crime manual of the CBI says every crime investigation must be completed 1 year, and if you go beyond 1 year, you explain to the director. 6 महीने के बाद ही ये परेशानी शुरू हो जाती है. Explanations start. So facts show that CBI is finding it tough to pinpoint the allegations and charge sheet anybody.
Okay.
So there you are. It's a difficult case.
Let me ask Naveen Upadhyay. So today the 4 people whose properties were raided, 2 of them happen to be MPs of the RJD, 1 an MLC, and the fourth one an ex-MLC. Again, what they are alleging is that these 4 people were party to the conspiracy. They were the conduits through whom these 12 people managed to get their jobs. They were conduits to these 7 properties that were procured in Patna and in other places. So they are as much part of this conspiracy. But as Mr. Sen said a moment ago, to be able to prove that the proceeds of those 7 properties that were sold and a mall was built in Gurugram, that is not going to be an easy task. Mr. Upadhyay.
Yeah, I fully agree. You know, it's going to be, it's going to be very difficult after 18 years, and it is also raising question why you carry out raid after 18 years in a case of such nature. And definitely to the extent, you know, when the RJD and JDU leaders were saying from the day one after this government change in Bihar that they will be subjected to raids by ED and CBI. So, you know, in public perception, they will be able to make a very strong case that it is being done with a motive, you know, political motive. At the same time, you know, I feel very strongly that more than anything legal issues, I think this is going to be a very prolonged perception battle in Bihar, because in 2017, if you remember, Nitish Kumar was forced to dump this RJD-led alliance at that point of time, because this case, Sushil Modi raised these cases and he launched a crusade claiming that Nitish Kumar claims that he has zero tolerance towards corruption. Now the BJP will make the same points again and again and again and again, when on the same issue you left the RJD 5 years ago, then how can you continue with the RJD now, when we have carried out raids and when we are going to prosecute
No,
them?
but Mr. Upadhyay, isn't it also a legitimate question to ask that what was the CBI doing for the last 5 years? Just because the political arrangement changed in Patna, did the CBI go slow on this case?
That's what I'm saying, you know, definitely it will give credence to what the opposition parties are saying, irrespective of the fact that the CBI may have a strong case, may have its own reason to go slow. But fact remains that political parties today are making a very strong case that CBI is selectively acting, or ED. And in case of Bihar, I think, from day one it is being said. So I think, it's going to be a perception battle. And it will be very interesting to see how Nitish Kumar reacts.
Response to this. Okay, I'm also getting more breaking news. Let me go across to that. These are from top CBI sources. CBI is now looking at the role of Sanjay Yadav. Sanjay Yadav, of course, is a close associate of Tejashwi Yadav. The CBI believes that Sanjay Yadav could potentially be the conduit between the Yadav family and the people who are building these malls in Gurugram, etc. Sanjay Yadav came in touch with the Yadav family through cricket. Remember, Tejashwi Yadav used to play cricket in school. Sanjay Yadav, the CBI believes, was the conduit between the construction of these malls through Benamis as well as the link to the Yadav family. The valuation of shares and projects, according to the CBI, is highly undervalued. The investment happened through 0% debentures from a company called Elite Land Base, and there was an unsecured loan of almost 3 crore which was given under the guise of investment. So let me go across to Ashish Mahershi, who has more details on this. What exactly is the CBI alleging here as far as Sanjay Yadav's role is concerned? Because as far as I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, when Lalu Prasad Yadav was rail minister between 2004 and 9, Sanjay Yadav was not in the acquaintance of the Yadav family.
So, basically, Zaka, it is the family feud of, if you remember, there was a family feud between Tej Pratap and Tejashwi Yadav. And at that point in time, there was an article that came to light. And because of that article, the CBI actually started this investigation, where Tej Pratap had basically alleged that Tejashwi Yadav, along with Sanjay Yadav, is making a mall. So in Gurgaon. So the CBI started investigating the matter. And when the investigation started, they found that there are certain Benamis who are basically building this mall. And the money is basically coming from the sale proceeds, or you can say proceeds of crime, from the land that was given in lieu of the jobs. So the money from the sale proceeds of that land is actually landing into this project.
Okay.
Now, the transactions that they're looking at, and the two companies that they are looking at basically is about Elite, and we all know that it's not only Elite, but there is another company which they are looking at is Whiteland Corporation. Now, if you see the investment that is coming into Whiteland, is coming. I've seen the documents, and I've gone through each and every document of both the companies, whether it is Elite Land Base or we're talking about Whiteland Corporation. Interestingly, there's a person called Navdeep in all these companies, and his wife, Priyanka, are also a partner in Elite. And apart from that, there is a person called Atam Prakash. He's also basically a part of this company. Now, these individuals have been raided by the CBI today. Now, there are two transactions which are basically under the investigation. One is the 0% debentures, where you are not going to pay any interest in terms of investment that is coming in the form of debentures. This is like 15.50 crore rupees that has come, and this debentures will convert into equity 7 years down the line. And there is another unsecured loan which has come around 3.5 crore rupees, and this 3.5 crore rupees has come through another company. This is basically it is named Arsh Construction and Engineering. So these two transactions are under the ambit of investigation of CBI.
All right, Ashish, we'll leave it at that. Let me ask Professor Subodh Mehta, what is the connection of Sanjay Yadav to these two construction companies, Whiteland and Arsh Construction? Why were they being given unsecured loans to the tune of 3 crores and then 15 crores of debentures which can be converted to equity in this company after 7 years? What is the link? Bataiye.
The Honorable Deputy Chief Minister Tejashwi Yadav has said today. He has categorically denied any link between the mall and himself. There is no link at all. It's all a fabricated and manufactured case to target and tarnish and assassinate the character of Tejashwi Prasad Yadav, who is emerging as one of the strongest leaders of Bihar and in India. So it's a frustration. Using CBI and ED, they are manufacturing cases after cases in last 18 years. When Tejaswi Prasad Yadav in 2004 and 5, he was barely 12-year-old. And
No,
now
the land for job scam happened in 2004-5, but the proceeds of that crime to build this mall allegedly is happening now in the last few years. In fact, one of these malls is still under construction.
Look, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister has already categorically denied each and everything what has been fabricated in today's media and what the sources of the CBI is talking about and what the BJP is talking
Guru Prakash
about.
Paswan,
BJP
it's all
is frustrated
concocted, it's all fabricated.
because
Tejaswi Yadav completely denying any link with these two companies, White Land Corporation or Hush Construction. He's saying all of this, ये तो पूरा political vendetta है. Guru Prakash. Okay. Guru Prakash, yeah. Yes, Professor Mehta. Yeah, yield, please. Thank you.
Zaka, we have to understand one simple thing, that the Honorable Chief Minister of Bihar, Mr. Nitish Kumar, he used to say that there will be no compromise on 3 C's: crime, corruption, and communalism. But absolutely, there is a compromise when it comes to crime and corruption, which is very much visible for the people of Bihar. It is the CBI. And the biggest travesty, Zaka, is that it was the Janata Dal United. It was Mr. Nitish Kumar who was at the forefront of providing all the relevant evidences to the CBI. It was the people of Mr. Nitish Kumar, members, senior leaders of Janata Dal United, who were at the forefront of this fight against corruption. And now they have to eat their own words and come in defense of this corruption.
No, but answer what the RJD is saying, that Tejaswi Yadav would have been 4 or 5 years old when in 2004-5, when his father was railway minister. Isn't it absurd to suggest that proceeds of crime have gone to Tejaswi Yadav or his people and they are building malls in Gurgaon?
Zaka, let the investigation be over. As a 23-year-old, how did he become an owner of more than 50 real estate properties? He has any answers for that? The representative from the Rashtriya Janata Dal, can he answer? How has he become the owner of very critical real estate areas, not only in Punjab, but allegedly in Gurgaon, Haryana as well?
Okay, Professor Mehta, respond.
If you are sane enough, if you are mature enough to have the ownership of the properties, then obviously you have to face the law. You have to face the music. There is absolutely no question. And Honorable Prime Minister has said.
No, let him respond. Let him respond.
Look, what BJP spokesperson is talking about is a manufactured and fabricated, and these words are his own words.
Sir, these are the words of CBI. There are evidences. There are evidences, sir.
Let me tell you, you are talking about a plot.
Sir, there are evidences.
Evidences, sir. You are also naming the plot names, plot numbers. If you name the plot number,
you have to answer before the CBI. You have to answer the people of Bihar. You have to answer to the people of Bihar. There are evidences. How did he become the owner of 53 properties?
Okay, Guru, let him speak, please. Guru, let him speak. You've asked him a question. Let him answer.
Let me speak.
Yes, Professor Mehta, I'm waiting for you. Yeah.
You talk about plot number and plots. If you know this, if the CBI knows this, then why the hell today there is an ED raid? If you know everything, then why the hell there is a ED raid? These are fabricated and manufacturers. These are fabricated.
Okay, I'll give Sunil Singh the final word of the JDU. Sunil Singh, when your leader Nitish Kumar in MGB 1.0 between 2015 and 2017, the reason he pulled out was because of exactly the same scam. Now the same scam is allegedly coming back to haunt him. Has his position changed between 2017 and 2022? Sunil Singh.
The time CBI is taking to complete this investigation, because 8 years back and now, and the crime was committed as per law 2004 when Tejaswi Yadav was a kid. And in 17, investigation started. 17, 5 years, they have reached nowhere, raid and raid, insinuations, character assassinations of no consequences.
No, but your leader said, your leader said he can't live with corruption. He was feeling suffocated. That's why he pulled out support in 2017.
Yeah, at that time case was filed. And we saw that in 5 years, CBI, if they would have some kind of a proof, they would have done more investigation.
I got to wrap up. Thank you very much to all our guests. I'm completely out of time. Dr. Sunil Singh, Guru Prakash Paswan, of course, Professor Subodh Mehta, Shantanu Sen, and Mr. Upadhyay. We'll see how this story plays out in Bihar, because it's going to have ramifications not just in that state, but also in the run-up to 2024. In a moment, Anusha will be joining you with the biggest exclusive.